Good morning. We're going to continue talking around collective teacher efficacy and thinking really about how does this impact the work that we're doing each and every day. So when we talk about collective teacher efficacy, it's really parallel to talking about the culture of collective responsibility. It's not possible for us to not think all kids that can be successful in our building and then expect all kids to be successful in our building. We have to have that culture of collective responsibility that we believe what we do makes a difference, and we believe that all students can achieve at high levels. Often hear the statement, I think it's by Mike Matos, that says culture eats strategy for breakfast. And I've often thought about, okay, that sounds good, but what does that really mean? And what I understand now is that if you have a great plan for change, but your culture isn't ready for change, you're not going to make the impact that you want. Or if you have a great plan to innovate new practices, if your culture isn't ready for innovative practices, the strategy is going to fail. So really, we have to focus first on the culture of our building, of our team, of individual teachers before we can say that we have high collective teacher efficacy. We have to first talk about what do we believe and what do we know to be true about students. So please read this question and then just privately score it 1 to 6. Is this something that you strongly disagree with or strongly agree with? This is not something you need to show to anyone else, so it can be honest and private. And for me, I might even answer this differently at different times of the year. I might even answer it differently at different times of the day. But having that belief that what we do can overcome the learning and environmental challenges of all of our students is key to making this work. So then I'd like you to do the same thing thinking about your team. How would you score this as your team? So we know that research shows that effective teams that believe they make a difference actually create the conditions to get better. It is not that it happens by accident. It's that when we believe we make a difference and we create the conditions, we get better. So first question I have to ask is, are we an effective team? What do we mean by effective? Do we believe that we're the ones that make the difference? And then finally, do we respond to failure by changing conditions or by accepting the failure? Well, it seems like a really simple statement. When you start digging into all of the components that go into that, it becomes much more challenging. So I'd like you to do is read the article, What Drives Collective Teacher Efficacy? And as you do it, jot down 2 things. In this article, what works for you? What do you agree with? What makes sense with what you already have as holding true? And then second, what challenges you? What are you not quite so sure about? What are you wondering about? So take some time, read the article, and jot down those 2 things. One of the things that really stood out for me in this was that idea of a mastery goal or an instructor learning goal instead of a performance goal as the starting place. And as they said, a caution, it's not that we want performance goals to go away. It's that if we frame it around the internal locus of control, which is what we as the instructors do, then we can use student performance as the measure. Versus if the goal is student performance, we end up not sure if what we're doing is making the difference. So in thinking around that, for so many years, we talked about data as that it is what it is. It's not personal, it is the data. But what I'd really like to challenge us is to think about, no, it's not personal, but it is professional. And it is professional in that if we are not getting the results that we want, we need to try and do something different. What that different looks like is where those instructor learning or mastery goals come in. Because if we're not measuring what we're doing differently, we don't know if we're just getting lucky or if what we're doing is really the thing that makes the difference. So I know the challenge always becomes, yes, that sounds like something that makes sense, but how in the world am I supposed to do this? How do I make this happen? So what I did here is just take the outlines of those steps that were in the collective teacher efficacy article, and broke them into 4 steps. So I'd like you to take some time, review what is it the step that we need to do, and then how are we going to measure if what we're doing is making a difference? Because that key to collective teacher efficacy is the cause and effect relationship. What we do impacts what students do. And if we believe that we can impact all students, irregardless of their background, irregardless of the resources that they come to the classroom with, then we can make the environment and change the situation to be able to positively impact. Thank you very much. I hope you got something out of this and can learn alongside your CLTs. See you next month.